Good morning, Bix Weir, roadroad.com with your morning horns. Ease your sip of chaga coffee. Well, we got our answer as to why the open interest went up 120 million ounces on the criminal COMEX exchange for silver. They were preparing for another slam down. They got their shorts in place. There was a $2 rise, so they're shooting for getting below $2 or they lose money on the rig job. So it's so hysterical that we can see this beforehand, a week beforehand, as a matter of fact. If you look at what happened to the price of silver, this is the last 2 weeks. Right in here, the price of silver was rising after the cutoff. So starting Wednesday, July 12th, it's rising and the bankers are massively shorting. Got it short to 120 million ounces. Then they took a week off and there was very little change in the open interest. And then as of yesterday, they claim all these things happened yesterday. That's why the price of silver gets destroyed today. All these things meaning if you go over to the mouthpiece of the bad guys, Kitco, gold price dips after stronger batch of U.S. data. The gold prices are weaker and silver prices are slightly up in early trading. This is before the slam, obviously. Modest overnight gains in both metals were lost after release of some upbeat economic data that beat expectations. Fresh U.S. economic data Thursday morning fell into the camp of monetary policy hawks, suggesting one or more interest rate hikes may be necessary to cool the economy. The first estimate of second quarter gross domestic product came up at 2.4% year on year, which handily beat expectations for a rise of 2.0. This is complete and total bullshit. That is a plug number. They can say whatever they want. Whatever they can say GDP went up 200%. Nobody cares because it's all a lie. The internals of the GDP report were also solid. Meanwhile, U.S. durable goods orders were reported up 4.7% in June versus expectations of 1.5%. All bullshit. All made up by the government. This is how intricate their little process of market rigging is. They knew what they were going to do 2 weeks ago. They started the game, let the price rise $2, shorted all the way into the rise. Everybody's hanging on a thread. Will silver go up or down? And then they release all this bullshit data and poof, they smash the price of silver. Now their goal is to cover. Now it's probably a U.S. run operation, so the federal government's involved, which means they don't care if they lose money. They can print as much money as they want. Don't forget, these are derivative contracts. So the Exchange Stabilization Fund, which is in all markets, they don't care if they lose money at all. It doesn't matter, especially on the derivative side because they can write unlimited derivatives. So that's what happened. Now you know. Now you heard it here. And you can see it. Now we're going to watch tomorrow just for more proof. We're going to see, the total open interest is 146,000 contracts. So tomorrow, when the numbers are posted after today's slam, we're going to see how much lower the open interest is. They're trying to get rid of 120 million ounces of open interest and trying not to lose money. So they're going to slam the price down. Now the question is, how far will they slam it? Well, we look at the moving averages. This is how far they need to slam it. They need to go down below 2316 on the 50-day, 2391 on the 100-day, and 23 on the 200-day moving average. So there you go. That's all they need to do, and then they cover. And once they do that, it used to be that the tech funds would go short after those. They're not doing that all that much anymore. So kind of like right here, it's not going to stay long below that. So if you're looking for when should I buy, and you're trying to get the lowest price on the COMEX price, right in here at $23, because it won't stay long below that. This was the longest, and it went from $19.95 up to $26. So we could see that again. I don't think there's much to this because everybody saw it coming. Why did they increase open interest? 120 million ounces 2 weeks ago. This is why. So they can try to slam it down. And here you can see the open interest, how it jumped up here. And you can see it fall back to probably in this range 120,000 contracts. Right now it's at 146. It's going to drop down to probably 120, 130, and that would be a successful operation for them, for the market riggers. It is so insane. This has been going on for so long, and people didn't really understand it. Now everybody does. If you're in silver and you're interested in why the price goes up and down, it's 100% can be seen with the commercials and the tech funds trading back and forth. These are big banks trading back and forth to each other to set the price. Got nothing to do with the retail buyer. Nothing at all. So that's where we are. Not much in the exchange for physicals today. 64, which is about 70,000 contracts. 70,000 ounces. So yeah, we're still very strong. July's been very strong delivery month. Close to 25 million, over 25 million ounces. Now, at the beginning of the month, there was only about 14 or 15 million ounces that were going to be delivered. So somebody, and I'll tell you who it is, Bank of America, has been every day taking delivery, buying silver and taking delivery. Slow and steady wins the race for Bank of America as far as their rig job to pay back the silver to JP Morgan, maybe. We're not quite sure what the hell is going on there. It could be to deliver to Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is in the back pocket of Bank of America, did a bunch of structured silver deals where Bank of America leases silver from JP Morgan, and then it ends up in Warren Buffett's hands and Elon Musk's hands, and maybe even the U.S. Mint. Not sure about the Mint, but Ventures Gibson, the head of the Mint, has been bragging about how they've greatly increased Silver Eagle production, but they're clearly not selling it to the public, which means they're stockpiling. I will be talking to the queen herself, Jenny Moonstone, about this situation, because on the I did a live chat yesterday. Go check that out. Go to my YouTube channel, roadtoruta.com. No, Road to Ruta on YouTube, and it'll be there. You can see the live chat we had. But a lot of the questions were around, oh shit, did I buy the right silver? Because I don't have much American sovereign coinage, Eagles pre-65 coinage, and it's a tough one to answer. The obvious answer is U.S. minted within the United States. U.S. minted coinage will always, by definition, always be more valuable than any other type of silver, because otherwise it'd just be melted down, right? If the silver eagles are the same value or less than other silver, they would melt down the eagles and turn it into another form of silver. If what happens to our banking system, what I believe will happens, and we go back to a gold and silver standard, those specific coins that were made by the U.S. Mint will be the new money for the United States, and that would make them much more valuable than the silver, depending on the laws. If there's free coinage, that's a different deal. Then, the bars and rounds and everything else would be of equal value, because you can walk into the bank with your 100-ounce bar and walk out with 100 ounces of silver without any charge. Will there be that? I don't know. Truthfully, the world is going to be very different when this happens. It's an easy way for the U.S. government to increase the money supply within the United States by offering free coinage if we go to gold and silver standard, because everybody with gold and silver would be melting it down, going into the mint, and having them make them a silver eagle or a new type of silver coin. I'm sure there's many different types that lays dead ahead for us, and that would increase the money supply within the domestic economy, right? Because you're turning silver into money. That's what they used to do. And a lot of things will be reverting back to what they used to do. Now, Cliff High has always had, there's two different types of silver. One will do extremely well, and one will just do really well. And he thought it had to do with the isotopes. I think it was the isotopes in the silver being used for some kind of a technological reason. And he still thinks that, I believe. But what I think is, yes, there will be two types of silver. One silver that has been minted by the U.S. Mint and can be verified by the Honeywell technology of reading the crystalline structure of each coin to identify it specifically. And that will be used in our new money system to, for example, you can keep your silver eagles at the mint vaults, but on your phone have an app that can sell like 5 grains of silver to buy dinner for 2. Who knows how it's all going to be valued? That's another big problem we have in the future. Let's say the derivative bomb goes off, all the banks are done, there's no fiat money running around. We decide to go back to gold and silver. What's the purchasing power of each? Is it only domestic? You'd look at the whole world. For example, does China have massive amounts of gold? I think they do. I think the United States does too, although we don't talk about it. I don't know. I've yet to find a huge stockpile of silver. There are a lot of silver mines that are unmined in the United States, so I think those will be a good source of silver. I mean, the biggest silver conspiracy of a huge hoard of silver that I have come across is the Y12 facility in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, during when they were making the first atomic bomb. They closed down that facility. I mean, the story was they closed it down right after the war. In actuality, they closed it down in the 90s, and then that's when you see a bunch of silver, like 3 or 4 times the amount of silver being exported in like 3 years in the mid-90s. That came from the Y12 facility, and it was U.S. government silver that it was at the time in the early 1940s. It was backing. There were silver certificates, so the silver was backing the certificates, and the U.S. government officially made the decision to move that silver out of West Point and send it to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to be made into these bus bars and calutrons and things like that to make the first atomic bomb. The decision was also made not to tell the public that they were doing this, because then there would be a monetary crisis. Everybody said, oh my God, I have these silver certificates, and the U.S. government doesn't have any readily available silver in the bank. And this isn't made up stuff. You can read General Leslie Grove's book, Now It Can Be Told. And he told, this is the guy who was in charge of the planning and making of the first atomic bomb. And he said, we decided not to tell the world about silver, all the silver we were using coming out of the U.S. Treasury. Yeah, now it can be told. But I found that, I think I was the first to find it, although it was in a History Channel documentary on the Manhattan Project. And I remember, this was about 15 years ago. I'm watching it. I just got back from work, and I was watching it, and I'm like, and they said something about silver. I had to rewind it because it was on a what was it called back in the day? It wasn't I later got the cassette tape, but I rewound it, and I was like, did they say what I thought they said, that millions and millions of ounces were taken out of the U.S. Treasury and secretly put in the Manhattan Project? And it was true. And then the more research I did, I found that there was closer to 2.7 billion ounces were used, because they had to build another facility, not just the Y12 facility. They had to build a B facility to make, they can only get a little bit of the enriched uranium. They needed a lot more. So, yeah, that's the story of silver. So, yeah, our government's been lying to us for so long. It's embarrassing. So this whole article by Jim Wyckoff of the lovely Kitco. Kitco, by the way, is a joke. Is a ridiculous organization, in my opinion. They got famous because you can embed the price of silver. I think it's the COMEX price that they're quoting into your website. So everybody goes to Kitco, and I've never seen an entity other than the Perth Mint put out more lies about why silver goes up and down. But they also have storage programs and things like that, the fractional reserve lending of silver. So, yeah, I'm not a fan. But I use them, like I use Jeffrey Christian to see what the mouthpieces are saying for the riggers, and this is what's going on. So this happened this morning. This huge drop in silver happened because of economic data. That's it. Yeah, that's it. It had nothing to do with 2 weeks ago, 120 million ounces open interest increased and they went short silver. This is all real. This is all real data. So as you can see, volumes are going crazy, which is, I mean, you just got to get it out of the way. If you want to buy silver, buy away. I don't know how low they'll get it. They're shooting for $23. If they get it down to 23, congrats. It's a gift to you. And then they're going to let it run up again, and they're going to try to get out of the 120 million ounce short position. I don't know how well they'll do that because everybody knows what they're doing, except the CFTC, the regulator, has no idea. And the CME, the actual owner of this exchange, is supposed to be a regulator. That always cracked me up. There's a self-regulated entity. The most criminal and corrupt section of humanity today is commodity traders, and they're supposed to self-regulate. That just always cracked me up. Okay, so we should have, look, we had yesterday, we had a decent 647 contracts change in the open interest. We're going to see this go down probably, now this should go on for a couple days until probably Tuesday, which is the next cutoff point. And then they'll, see how well they did with their rig job. But right now, all the big commercials are covering their shorts that they put on 2 weeks ago. It's a very short-term operation for them. Okay, where are we? Again, Bank of America, again, today or yesterday, took 14 contracts, which is 70,000 ounces of physical silver. They bought on that day, and they took delivery. Really interesting stuff. Why does Bank of America need silver so bad? And we all know why. Because the lease silver from JP Morgan, those are all 1 year and below leases. So they can't keep rolling them over if there's no silver available, and they got to get as much as they can. And again, the Fed hike yesterday was what they claim was the reason for the crash in the silver market. It's all bullshit. But the next day of bullshit, the next meeting of the Fed is September 19th through 20th. That is the heart of the crisis, the economic crisis that I see coming, right in the middle of September, and then it'll leak out into the end of the year. That's the best time, I think, for the good guys to take down the bad guys around September 11th. They always like to use September 11th. But between now and then, there's a lot of things that will happen. I'm looking forward to the late August BRICS meeting. Do I think they'll go to a fully redeemable gold standard? Only if the system falls apart before then. Otherwise, they won't. They'll just say, "Oh yeah, we've agreed on in principle on a backed currency, backed by gold, non-redeemable, which means nothing. It's backed by nothing." You look at I'm talking to Andy Scheckman today, by the way, this afternoon, and I'll be posting that later. I'm talking to Jenny Moonstone this morning. Lots going on the road to Ruta as we decipher the destruction of the old system. How much market rigging can they do? Again, in August, the BRICS nations are supposed to announce the gold currency. I think it will only be like that if the system falls apart before that, because it's that old adage, Grisham's law, that bad money drives out good money. Good money you want to keep in your own possession. Bad money you want to get rid of it. And so it happened during when we went off the silver standard in 1965. All the silver coins started being hoarded. And Nixon came on the news and said, "Don't hoard silver. We have so much silver. Don't worry about it." Then silver went from $1 to $50 by the end of that into the 70s. So yeah, that's what's going on. It's a crazy world. Lots of good stuff, lots of interviews today. Make sure you're on the private road at roadtoruta.com. We will send you the silver Ruta coin for joining. Oh, by the way, somebody sent me this. There's a guy who had his bank account shut down at JP Morgan. If you guys know the Road to Ruta, you've been on here long enough. They shut down my Road to Ruta account. Now, people are saying, well, why did you bank at JP Morgan? I banked at JP Morgan because I knew they were heavily invested in silver and they would do well if the silver. It was kind of dumb, but I did. They kept calling me in. Hey, let us manage your money. Let us manage your money. And I came in there and said, okay, if I get a bunch of people to, they wanted me to invest in Chinese bonds or something ridiculous. I said, if I get a bunch of people to buy shares of SLV, you being an authorized distributor or authorized participant in the SLV, and you're the guys who hold the inventory. Can I redeem a basket of 50,000 ounces of silver? If you could do that for me, yeah, I'll talk to you about doing business with you. So the guy didn't know what I was talking about. He goes, oh, let me ask. 2 weeks later, I get this notification, exactly like this guy got a notification that says, we regret to inform you we've decided to close your accounts. No explanation, no nothing. It was dumb because it's a pain in the ass when you get your bank account closed and you got to go somewhere else. But it is what it is. But Chase Bank shuts down bank accounts of Mercola and key employees. JP Morgan Chase informed me that they are closing all of my business accounts along with my personal accounts, the personal accounts of my CEO and my CFO and their respective spouses and children. These guys at JP Morgan don't mess around. They will go for, no, not only will they go for your children, the upper management, they will go for your livelihood. They will do everything they can to destroy you financially. This is the biggest crook organization on the planet right now. And they're going down, by the way. The good guys are going to take them down really hard, as in no more JP Morgan, but no more banking system. When does that happen? When the derivative bubble pops. Silver can pop it. Silver is that tiny market. Silver's a tiny market that can literally destroy everything, the entire global monetary system. There are many countries that know this. Putin knows it. Xi of China knows it. A lot of the South American countries are starting to figure that out. Mexico knows it. That's why they're putting all these handcuffs on the mining companies to slowly squeeze out the destruction of JP Morgan and the criminals that run our country. Our world, actually. They run our world. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Again, I'll be talking to Andy Schechtman this afternoon. I'll post it on roadtoruta.com. Make sure you go to roadtoruta.com and put your email address in there to get the free updates. Name and email address, and you'll be on our mailing list. And then if you want to join the private road and get access to all the Jenny Moonstone discussions, all the private road discussions, you name it, we got it on there. Hit subscribe today. And we send out one Silver Ruta Lives coin with every 1-year subscription. This coin, in my opinion, will pay for the subscription many times over. Many times over, ultimately. So go check it out. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.